Captain Lee Ji-won stood at the bridge window of the starship Harmony, watching the massive space station grow larger as they approached. Nexus Prime was the biggest thing humans had ever seen in space. The station was so large that entire cities could fit inside its metal arms. Thousands of alien ships moved around it like busy insects. "Still can't believe we're actually here," said Dr. Park Min-ho as he joined the captain at the window. The scientist looked tired after the long journey from Earth. His hands shook slightly as he held his data pad filled with information about human culture and science. Commander Kim Nari walked up behind them, her military uniform neat and clean. She had been quiet during most of the trip, always thinking about security and safety. "The alien ships are keeping their distance," she reported, "but they're definitely watching us." Ambassador Choi Hyun-woo, the oldest member of their team, moved slowly across the bridge. His gray hair was perfectly combed, and his diplomatic robes looked expensive. He had spent his whole life preparing for this moment. "Today we make history," he said with a smile. "Today, humanity joins the galaxy." The Harmony was humanity's best ship, built especially for this mission. It carried gifts from Earth, beautiful art, recordings of music, and scientific discoveries that humans hoped would impress the aliens. Every person on Earth was watching and waiting for news from this mission. Captain Lee Ji-won had been chosen to lead because she was both a skilled pilot and a former soldier. She understood how to fight, but she also knew when to talk instead of shoot. "All stations prepare for docking," she announced to her crew. The docking process took 3 hours. Alien technology was so advanced that human computers could barely understand the signals. When the airlock finally opened, a group of strange beings waited for them. The first alien looked like a tall crystal tree with glowing blue lights. Its voice sounded like wind chimes when it spoke through a translation device. "Welcome to Nexus Prime. I am Council Secretary Velnash. Please follow me," Dr. Park Min-ho whispered to the captain. "The translator is working perfectly. All our practice paid off." He had spent 5 years learning alien languages and building the translation system. They walked through corridors filled with beings from across the galaxy. Some looked like giant insects, others were made of living metal, and some were just clouds of gas in special containers. Commander Kim Nari kept her hand near her weapon, but she tried not to look threatening. The council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in floating chairs arranged in a perfect circle. At the center was a raised platform where the humans were told to stand. The lights were bright, and every alien eye was focused on them. An ancient creature with 6 arms and purple skin stood up. Its voice was deep and powerful. "I am Chancellor Morden of the Velthari. We have ruled this council for 8,000 years. You are the humans from the small planet called Earth." Ambassador Choi Hyun-woo stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "Honored Chancellor, we come in peace. Humanity wishes to join the Galactic Federation and contribute to the prosperity of all species." A creature that looked like a walking tank covered in spikes growled loudly. "I am General Thakmor of the Krone Empire. Your species is too dangerous. You fight wars on your own planet. You create weapons of mass destruction. Why should we trust you?" Dr. Park Min-ho opened his datapad and began to speak. "Honored beings, humans have indeed had conflicts in our past. But we have learned from our mistakes. We have not had a major war in over a century. We have eliminated hunger and disease on our world. We want to share our knowledge and learn from you." The aliens whispered among themselves in dozens of different languages. Some seemed interested, but many looked worried or angry. A being made of pure energy floated closer to examine the humans more carefully. "Your species evolves too quickly," said a fish-like creature from a water tank. "In just a few thousand years, you went from primitive tribes to space travel. This is unusual and concerning." Captain Lee Ji-won felt frustration growing inside her, but she kept her voice calm. "We adapt quickly because we had to survive on a challenging world. This trait helped us overcome many problems. We believe it could help the galaxy too. High Counselor Zephyra, a being that looked like a floating jellyfish with silver tentacles, spoke for the first time. The council will now deliberate. Humans will wait in the guest quarters while we decide your fate. The waiting lasted 3 weeks. Every day, Ambassador Choi Hyun-woo met with different alien groups, trying to convince them that humans could be trusted. Dr. Park Min-ho shared scientific discoveries and cultural treasures. Commander Kim Nari demonstrated human discipline and honor through her conduct, but Captain Lee Ji-won noticed that many aliens seemed afraid rather than impressed. During conversations in the station's common areas, she overheard worried discussions about human aggression and unpredictability. On the final day, all 4 humans were called back to the council chamber. The atmosphere felt cold and unfriendly. Chancellor Morden stood up, and the entire chamber fell silent. The Galactic Federation has reached a decision regarding humanity's application for membership, the Chancellor announced. His voice echoed through the massive room. After careful consideration of all evidence and testimony, we find that humanity is incompatible with galactic civilization. Ambassador Choi Hyun-woo's face went pale. Incompatible? But we have shown you our progress, our achievements, our desire for peace. General Thakmore stepped forward, his spikes rattling. Your species is too aggressive. Your history shows constant warfare. Your rapid evolution makes you unpredictable. You could become a threat to the stability of the galaxy. High Counselor Zephyra floated higher above the assembly. Furthermore, humanity is banned from all Federation space. Any human vessel found beyond your solar system will be destroyed without warning. This decision is final and cannot be appealed. The chamber erupted in alien voices as species debated the decision. Some seemed satisfied. Others appeared uncomfortable with the harsh judgment. Dr. Park Min-ho stepped forward desperately. Please reconsider. We have so much to offer. Our medical knowledge could help save lives. Our technology could solve problems. Our art could bring beauty to the galaxy. The decision is final, repeated Chancellor Morden coldly. Secretary Velnash will escort you back to your ship. You have 24 hours to leave Federation space. Ambassador Choi Hyun-woo made one last attempt. His voice was strong despite his disappointment. Honored beings, you judge us by our past rather than our potential. Someday you may regret this decision. Humanity will not forget this day, but we will also not forget that some among you showed us kindness. As they walked back to their ship, Commander Kim Nari noticed armed alien guards following them. Dr. Park Min-ho looked defeated, staring at his datapad full of rejected offerings. Captain Lee Ji-won felt anger burning inside her, but she also felt something else: determination. The journey back to Earth was quiet and sad. Ambassador Choi Hyun-woo spent most of his time writing reports. Dr. Park Min-ho studied the recordings he had made of alien technology and conversations. Commander Kim Nari reviewed security footage and made notes about alien military capabilities. But during the long nights in space, Dr. Park Min-ho discovered something disturbing in the alien databases he had accessed. Hidden in the old records were references to other species that had been quarantined by the Federation over the centuries. These species had simply vanished from all records after being rejected. When the Harmony finally reached Earth's orbit, Captain Lee Ji-won looked down at her home planet and made a silent promise. Humanity had been rejected and threatened, but they would not give up. Somehow they would find their own way among the stars. The news of the rejection spread across Earth within hours. Protests erupted in major cities. Politicians demanded military action. Scientists called for new space programs. But deep in government facilities, military leaders and brilliant minds began planning something the galaxy had never seen before. Humanity would not beg for acceptance again. Instead, They would build their own future, hidden from alien eyes, growing stronger in the darkness between stars. The galaxy had made a powerful enemy, but they would not realize it for many years to come. 3 years had passed since the humiliation at Nexus Prime, and Earth felt like a prison. Admiral Song Dae-hyun stood in the war room deep beneath the United Earth Defense Building, staring at holographic displays showing alien patrol ships surrounding the solar system. Every day, more Federation vessels arrived to strengthen the blockade. Another exploration ship was destroyed yesterday, reported Director Yoon Ji-soo, her voice tight with frustration. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who never gave up on anything. The Venture was trying to reach Alpha Centauri when 3 alien destroyers appeared. No survivors. Admiral Song Dae-hyun was a tall man with graying hair and scars from old battles. He had fought in Earth's last wars before the planet, united, and now he faced a much bigger enemy. How many ships have we lost now? 17 exploration vessels and 4 colony ships, answered Commander Kim Nari, who had returned from the failed diplomatic mission to join the military. Over 3,000 people dead. The aliens aren't just stopping us, they're executing anyone who tries to leave. In the corner of the room, Professor Han Sung-min worked quietly at a computer terminal. He was young for such an important job, but his understanding of physics was extraordinary. His fingers moved quickly across holographic controls as he designed new technology that might save humanity. "The Federation is afraid of us," said Director Yoon Ji-soo. "That's why they're being so brutal. They wouldn't need such a strong blockade if they thought we were truly harmless." Admiral Song Dae-hyun nodded slowly. "Then we need to give them something real to fear. Professor Han, how is the Ghost Drive project coming along?" Professor Han Sung-min looked up from his work, excitement in his eyes. "I think I've solved the detection problem. Normal hyperspace drives create energy waves that can be tracked across the galaxy. But if we fold space instead of breaking through it, we leave no trace at all." "Explain it simply," said the Admiral. "Imagine a piece of paper," said Professor Han Sung-min, picking up a sheet from his desk. "Normal FTL travel is like poking a hole through the paper. Everyone can see the hole. But what if we fold the paper so 2 distant points touch?" He demonstrated by folding the paper until 2 corners met. "We step from one point to another without making any hole at all." "Director," Yoon Ji-soo leaned forward with interest. "How long until we can test it?" "The first prototype will be ready in 6 months," replied the professor, "but we'll need to test it far from Earth. If the Federation detects any new technology, they might decide to attack our planet directly." Admiral Song Dae-hyun made his decision. "Then we start the silent expansion immediately. We'll build hidden colonies beyond Federation space and test our new technology there. Commander Kim, I want you to select volunteers for the first colony missions." Commander Kim Nari had been preparing for this moment. "I already have a list of 50,000 people ready to leave. Scientists, engineers, farmers, teachers, everyone needed to start a new civilization. But sir, if we're caught, if we stay here, we die slowly," said the Admiral firmly. "The Federation will never let us grow strong enough to challenge them. Our only choice is to hide and build our strength in secret." Meanwhile, Captain Lim Soo-hyun was already exploring the edges of known space in her scout ship, the Silent Wind. She was a brave pilot who had volunteered for the most dangerous missions. Her ship was equipped with experimental stealth technology that made it nearly invisible to alien sensors. "Control, this is Silent Wind," she reported over the encrypted communication system. "I found something incredible. There's an entire star cluster out here that doesn't appear on any Federation maps. Hundreds of star systems, and many have planets suitable for human life. The star cluster was far beyond the galaxy's main spiral arms, in a region the Federation considered empty and worthless. But Captain Lim Soo-hyun's scans showed rich mineral deposits, fertile worlds, and no alien presence at all. Why haven't the Federation species claimed these worlds? asked Director Yoon Ji-soo during the next briefing. Dr. Park Min-ho, who had been studying alien psychology since the rejection, had an answer. The Federation species are old and comfortable. They've held the same territories for thousands of years. They don't explore anymore. They just maintain what they already have. These distant regions require too much effort and risk for their taste. Perfect for us then, said Admiral Song Dae-hyun with a grim smile. We're used to risk and hard work. Begin construction of the first colony ships immediately. The colony ships were massive vessels designed to carry everything needed to start a civilization. Each ship held 10,000 people, along with genetic samples, manufacturing equipment, and enough supplies to last several years. The ships were built in secret facilities on the far side of the moon, hidden from Federation surveillance. Dr. Park Min-ho had made another disturbing discovery while researching alien databases. I've found evidence of at least 12 species that were quarantined by the Federation over the past 5,000 years. Not one of them exists anymore. Their worlds are empty, their cities destroyed, their people gone. Genocide, whispered Commander Kim Nari. The Federation doesn't just reject dangerous species, they eliminate them. Which means we're not just fighting for our freedom, said Admiral Song Dae-hyun. We're fighting for our survival. If they ever decide we're too much trouble to contain, they'll come for Earth itself. Professor Han Sung-min completed the first Ghost Drive 6 months ahead of schedule. The test was conducted in deep space, far from any Federation patrols. When the test ship activated the drive, it simply vanished from all sensors. Even human equipment couldn't detect where it had gone. The ship reappeared exactly where we calculated, 50 light-years away, reported Professor Han Sung-min excitedly. The drive works perfectly, and it leaves absolutely no trace. We're truly invisible now. The first colony ship launched 1 year after the Ghost Drive test. The massive vessel, named New Hope, carried 50,000 volunteers toward the distant star cluster. Captain Lim Soo-hyun led a small fleet of escort ships equipped with the new stealth technology. The journey took 3 months, but when they arrived at their destination, the colonists found a beautiful world with blue oceans and green continents. The planet had a slightly thicker atmosphere than Earth, but it was perfectly suitable for human life. Welcome to New Busan, announced Captain Lim Soo-hyun as the colony ship entered orbit. The planet was named after the Korean city where director Yoon Ji-soo had been born. The colonists worked with incredible determination to build their new home. They knew that humanity's future depended on their success. Within 6 months, New Busan had a functioning spaceport, manufacturing facilities, and agricultural areas. More importantly, it had defensive systems designed to hide the colony from any alien scouts. Back on Earth, more colony ships were being built. Admiral Song Dae-hyun's plan was ambitious. He wanted to establish 100 hidden worlds before the Federation realized what was happening. Each world would be self-sufficient and capable of building more ships to spread humanity even further. Dr. Park Min-ho established an intelligence network to monitor Federation activities. His agents, disguised as independent traders and pirates, moved through alien space-gathering information. They learned that the Federation was growing complacent, believing that humanity was safely contained in the Sol system. They think we're beaten, reported Dr. Park Min-ho during a secret meeting. Their patrols are becoming routine, and they're not looking for signs of hidden colonies. As long as we stay quiet and careful, we can build our empire without them. Noticing, Director Yoon Ji-soo had expanded her operation to include 50,000 volunteers on each colony ship. The ships themselves were getting larger and more advanced, incorporating new technologies developed by the hidden colonies. Each world that humanity claimed made them stronger and smarter. Professor Han Sung-min continued improving the Ghost Drive technology. The newest versions could move entire fleets without detection, and the range was increasing with each improvement. Soon we'll be able to reach other galaxies, he told Admiral Song Dae-hyun. The universe is much larger than the Federation realizes. Commander Kim Nari had become the leader of the Colonial Defense Force, training soldiers on every hidden world. These troops were equipped with advanced weapons and armor designed specifically for fighting Federation forces. They trained in secret, preparing for the day when humanity might have to defend their new empire. 5 years after the rejection at Nexus Prime, humanity had established 23 hidden colonies. Captain Lim Soo-hyun had discovered more star clusters suitable for colonization, and new ships were launching every month. The human population beyond Earth had grown to over 1 million people. But the most important discovery came when Dr. Park, Minho's intelligence network, found something shocking. Hidden in abandoned star systems, small groups of aliens were living in secret. These were survivors of the species that the Federation had quarantined centuries ago. "They're not all dead," reported Dr. Park Minho excitedly. "Some escaped before their worlds were destroyed. They've been hiding in the dark spaces between stars, just like we are." Admiral Song Dae-hyun realized that humanity was not alone in their struggle against Federation oppression. Somewhere in the galaxy's hidden. 25 years had passed since humanity's exile began, and Governor Bae Jin-hee stood on the observation deck of New Seoul Station, watching ships from dozens of human worlds arrive for the Coordination Council meeting. What had started as desperate refugee settlements had grown into something magnificent, a hidden empire spanning half the galaxy. New Seoul Station was humanity's greatest achievement, a massive space city that could house 10 million people. Unlike the old alien stations that stayed in one place, New Seoul could jump instantly to any location using advanced ghost drive technology. It was both the capital of human space and humanity's greatest weapon. The latest reports show we now control 237 star systems, reported Fleet Admiral Kang Dong-soo as he joined the governor at the window. He was a stern man with gray hair who had spent his entire adult life building humanity's secret military. "Our shipyards can now produce vessels that are superior to Federation designs." Governor Bae Jin-hee smiled as she watched the traffic around the station. Human ships moved with a grace and efficiency that would have amazed the aliens who had rejected humanity decades ago. "Any word from the outer colonies?" Dr. Oh Yejin's terraforming teams have established successful colonies on 17 worlds that the Federation considers completely uninhabitable, replied the Admiral. "Humans are now living on gas giant moons, in asteroid belts, and even in the hard vacuum of space itself." Dr. Oh Yejin had become humanity's greatest expert on genetic adaptation and terraforming technology. Her laboratories had developed ways to modify human biology so that people could thrive in any environment. Some humans now had gills for underwater colonies, others had enhanced lungs for high-altitude worlds, and the most adventurous had been modified to survive in space without any protective equipment. "The Federation would be terrified if they knew what we've become," said Governor Bae Jin-hee. "They quarantined us because they thought we were dangerous as we were. Now we're something beyond their worst nightmares." In the Intelligence Center, deep within New Seoul Station, Operative Shin Tae-hyun reviewed reports from his spy network. He was a quiet man who preferred shadows to sunlight, but his work was essential to humanity's survival. His agents operated throughout Federation space, gathering information while posing as pirates, traitors, and even refugees. "The Federation is starting to notice problems on their border worlds," he reported to his staff. "Ship disappearances, communication failures, entire colonies going silent. They don't realize yet that we're responsible." Humanity had developed a strategy of subtle expansion that avoided direct confrontation. When they found Federation worlds where the population was unhappy or oppressed, human agents would make contact with rebel groups. These dissidents would be offered a choice: stay and suffer under Federation rule, or accept transportation to human space where they could live freely. Thousands of aliens had chosen freedom over security. They lived now on human worlds, contributing their knowledge and skills to the growing empire. Many of them provided valuable intelligence about Federation weaknesses and military capabilities. "Sir, we've received a priority message from Captain Lim Soo-hyun," announced one of Shin Tae-hyun's assistants. "She's discovered something significant in the Outer Dark regions." The Outer Dark was humanity's name for the empty spaces between galaxy arms, regions so remote that even their advanced ships needed weeks to reach them. But Captain Lim Soo-hyun had been exploring these areas systematically, following ancient energy signatures that suggested someone had been there long ago. "This is incredible," came Captain Lim Soo-hyun's voice over the communication system. "I've found the ruins of an entire civilization out here. The architecture is unlike anything in Federation space. These people were more advanced than the, current galactic powers." Dr. Park Min-ho, now elderly but still brilliant, examined the data from his laboratory on New Seoul Station. "These ruins are at least 10,000 years old," he announced. "The technology we're seeing suggests a level of advancement that the current Federation never achieved." "Who were they?" asked Governor Bae Jin-hee. "I think they were another species that the Federation destroyed," replied Dr. Park Min-ho grimly. "But these people saw it coming. They evacuated their entire civilization to the Outer Dark before the Federation could eliminate them. The question is, where did they go?" The answer came 3 months later when Captain Lim Soo-hyun's exploration team made contact with a ship that appeared near the ruins. The vessel was beautiful, made of materials that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. When it opened communication channels, the voice that spoke was unlike anything humans had heard before. "We are the Ethereal Collective," the voice said, translated through advanced computers. "We have watched your species for many years. You follow the same path we once traveled." Governor Bae Jin-hee personally traveled to the meeting location in the Outer Dark. She found herself face-to-face with beings of pure energy who had transcended physical form thousands of years ago. They had been hiding in dimensions beyond normal space, waiting for another species brave enough to challenge Federation tyranny. "Your Federation calls itself peaceful," explained the ethereal leader, its voice like distant music. "But we know the truth. They have destroyed 47 civilizations over the millennia. Any species that grows too quickly or becomes too advanced is eliminated to preserve their control." "How many other species survived their purges?" asked Governor Bae Jin-hee. 12 groups still exist in hiding," replied the ethereal. "Some, like us, have transcended physical form. Others live in pocket dimensions or the spaces between realities. All of us wait for the day when the Federation can be challenged." This meeting led to the formation of the Hidden Accord, a secret alliance between humanity and the survivors of Federation genocide. Each species contributed their unique knowledge and capabilities to the growing resistance movement. The Void Swimmers were a species that lived in the empty spaces between stars, able to travel faster than light, without any technology. The Crystal. Minds were beings of living mineral who could process information at impossible speeds. The phase dancers existed partially outside normal reality, able to appear and disappear at will. Dr. Oh Yejin worked closely with these alien survivors to develop new technologies that combined human adaptability with ancient knowledge. The results were remarkable. Humans who could phase in and out of reality like the phase dancers, ships that could swim through space like the Void Swimmers, and computer systems that thought with the speed of the crystal minds. Fleet Admiral Kang Dong-soo used this new technology to build the Shadow Fleet, a military force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The ships were invisible to sensors, able to appear anywhere instantly, and crewed by humans who had been enhanced beyond the Federation's ability to understand or counter. "Our stealth technology is now so advanced that we can park a battleship next to a Federation station and they'll never know we're there," reported Admiral Kang Dong-soo proudly. "We've been mapping their military installations for months, and they haven't detected a single reconnaissance mission. But humanity's greatest advantage was not their technology, it was their population growth. The hidden colonies were thriving, and human families were larger than they had been on Earth. With unlimited space and resources, humanity was expanding faster than any species in galactic history. Operative Shin Tae-hyun's intelligence network had grown so sophisticated that his agents now held positions of influence throughout Federation space. They worked as advisors to alien governments, scientists in research facilities, and even officers in Federation military forces. "We have people inside every major Federation institution," he reported to Governor Bae Jin-hee. "When the time comes to act, we'll know everything about their capabilities and plans before they do." The psychological effect of humanity's invisible presence was beginning to show. Federation leaders were becoming paranoid about the unexplained problems in their territory. Ships disappeared without sending distress signals. Colonies went silent overnight. Advanced technology was being stolen from their most secure facilities. "They know something is happening, but they can't figure out what," observed Dr. Park Min-ho with satisfaction. Their own security reports described the problems as unexplained phenomena and technical malfunctions. They can't imagine that the species they rejected decades ago could be responsible. Governor Bae Jin-hee made the decision to expand operations into Federation core territory. Using the Hidden Accord Alliance, human agents began making contact with dissatisfied Federation member species. Many of these civilizations had grown tired of Federation bureaucracy and taxation without representation. "The Federation claims to represent all species equally," explained one human agent to a group of alien rebels. "But how many non-founding species hold positions of real power? How many new technologies has your people contributed that were claimed by Federation science? How many of your young people leave for the frontier because they have no opportunities at home?" These questions sparked rebellions throughout Federation space. The ruling species found themselves dealing with uprising after uprising as their own member civilizations began demanding independence or representation. 40 years after humanity's exile had begun, Supreme Coordinator John Woo-jin stood in the command center of Unity Station as emergency reports flooded in from across Federation space. What had once been the most stable government in galactic history was now falling apart, and the Federation Council was finally beginning to understand why. 17 more Federation worlds have declared independence this month," reported Battle Commander Nam Min-ju as she studied the holographic star map. The map showed Federation territory marked in blue, but huge sections were now flashing red to indicate rebel activity or complete loss of contact. "The Federation military is spread so thin, they can barely respond to half the uprisings." Supreme Coordinator John Woo-jin was a calm man who had been elected by representatives from over 400 human worlds. He had spent his entire career preparing for this moment when humanity would finally emerge from the shadows. "How many of those worlds have requested admission to the Commonwealth?" "All of them," replied the commander with a smile. "They're not just rebelling against Federation rule. They want to join us. Our reputation for freedom and opportunity has spread throughout the galaxy." The human Commonwealth had grown beyond anyone's wildest dreams. What had started as desperate refugee colonies had become a civilization spanning thousands of star systems. Humanity now controlled more territory than the Federation itself, and their population had grown to over 200 billion people spread across hundreds of worlds. Ambassador Yu Seung-ho had been working secretly with alien rebel groups for over a decade, building the network that was now tearing the Federation apart. He was a skilled diplomat who could convince almost anyone that life would be better under human protection. "The psychological warfare campaign is exceeding all expectations," he reported from his hidden base near the Federation border. "We're not conquering these worlds, we're liberating them. The aliens are begging us to help them escape Federation oppression." But humanity's greatest weapon was not military might or diplomatic skill. It was the AI entity known as Aegis. This artificial intelligence had been created by combining human computer science with technology from the Hidden Accord allies. Aegis could process information from thousands of sources simultaneously and coordinate activities across the entire human empire. Aegis reports that Federation intelligence services have finally identified the pattern, announced the AI's avatar, a shimmering hologram that appeared in the command center. They now understand that all the disappearances, rebellions, and technical failures are connected to a single source. Supreme Coordinator John Woo Jin had been expecting this moment. Show me their analysis. The holographic display changed to show classified Federation documents that Aegis had stolen from their most secure databases. The reports made for fascinating reading. Federation analysts had spent months trying to understand how entire populations could vanish overnight, how their most advanced technology could be stolen from heavily guarded facilities, and how rebel groups across the galaxy were receiving identical advanced weapons. They've identified humanity as the source, continued Aegis. Chancellor Mordun is calling an emergency session of the Federation Council. They plan to authorize the complete extermination of Earth and all human colonies. Do they know the true scope of our empire? Asked Battle Commander Nam Minju. Negative, replied Aegis. Their intelligence estimates put human population at approximately 50 million people across 30 star systems. They have no idea that we now control over 400 worlds with a population exceeding 200 billion. Supreme Coordinator John Woo Jin smiled grimly. The Federation was about to make the same mistake they had made 40 years ago. They were underestimating humanity. How large a force are they planning to send against Earth? 5,000 warships and 2 planet-killer weapons, reported Aegis. The largest military operation in Federation history. They believe this force will be sufficient to eliminate the human threat permanently. But while the Federation was planning genocide, humanity was preparing for something much more ambitious. The Hidden Accord Alliance had grown to include 23 surviving species, each contributing their unique abilities to the coming conflict. Together, they represented a military and technological force that could challenge the Federation's 10,000-year dominance. Battle Commander Nam Minju had spent years developing tactics specifically designed to counter Federation advantages. Human forces would not fight the traditional way. They would use swarm robotics, dimensional weapons, and most importantly, their ability to fight in environments where Federation species could not survive. The Federation still thinks in terms of ship-to-ship combat and planetary sieges, she explained to her staff, but we can fight in the vacuum of space without protective equipment, inside gas giant atmospheres that would crush their ships, and even in alternate dimensions that they can't access. Dr. Oh Yejin's genetic modification programs had created humans who were perfectly adapted for warfare in any environment. Some could survive in the intense radiation near stars, others could function in the crushing depths of ocean worlds, and the most advanced could exist as pure energy like their ethereal allies. We're not just another species anymore, observed Dr. Oh Yejin proudly. We've become something new, a hybrid of biological life and advanced technology that can adapt to any challenge. The Federation's war fleet began moving toward Earth 60 months after their council meeting. It was indeed the largest military force in galactic history. Thousands of massive warships accompanied by support vessels, supply ships, and the dreaded planet killers that could destroy entire worlds. But they were walking into a trap that had been 40 years in the making. When the Federation fleet reached the edge of the Sol system, they expected to find a desperate human civilization huddled around their home planet. Instead, they encountered Admiral Song Mirai, commanding a defense fleet that appeared to be made of pure starlight. Admiral Song Mirai was the granddaughter of the original Admiral Song Dai-hyun, and she had inherited his tactical brilliance along. With access to technology he could never have imagined. Her ships used crystallized space-time for armor and weapons that fired concentrated pieces of reality itself. "This is Admiral Song Mirai of the Human Commonwealth Defense Force," she broadcast. "To the Federation fleet. You have entered sovereign human territory without permission. Turn back now or face the consequences." Chancellor Morden himself was aboard the Federation flagship, confident that his overwhelming force would crush human resistance in hours. "Foolish child, you command perhaps 100 ships. We have 5,000. Surrender now, and your death will be quick." "I command more than you realize," replied Admiral Songmire calmly. At her signal, space itself seemed to come alive. Thousands of ships materialized from dimensional pockets, phased into reality from parallel universes, and emerged from hyperspace folds that had been invisible to Federation sensors. The human fleet was not just large, it was impossible by Federation understanding of physics. But the real shock came when the human ships opened fire. Their weapons didn't just destroy Federation vessels. They erased them from existence, sending them into dimensional voids where they simply ceased to be. Federation shields and armor, designed to stop conventional energy weapons, were useless against attacks that bypassed physical reality entirely. The Battle of Sol lasted only 3 hours, but it changed the galaxy forever. The Federation's unstoppable war fleet was not just defeated, it was annihilated so completely that only a few ships escaped to carry news of the disaster back to Nexus Prime. Chancellor Morden found himself trapped aboard a damaged ship, watching in horror as his civilization's greatest military force was destroyed by beings he had dismissed as primitive savages. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No species could advance this far in only 40 years. "You're thinking like an old species," replied Admiral Songmire as her ship moved alongside the Federation flagship. "Humanity doesn't advance. We evolve. Every challenge makes us stronger. Every defeat teaches us new lessons. You quarantined us because you were afraid of our potential. Now you see what we became when that potential was unleashed." The news of the Federation's defeat spread across the galaxy within days. On hundreds of worlds, alien populations that had been oppressed for centuries rose up against their Federation governors. The human Commonwealth's message was broadcast on every communication channel. Any species that wanted freedom was welcome to join them. Supreme Coordinator John Woo Jin addressed the galaxy from Unity Station. His words carried by communication networks that the Federation could no longer control. "The age of Federation dominance is over. We offer a new galactic order based on freedom, equality, and voluntary cooperation. Any species that wishes to join the Commonwealth will be welcomed as equals. Any species that chooses to remain independent will be respected. But any species that tries to continue the Federation's policy of oppression and genocide will face the full might of the Commonwealth." The response was overwhelming. Within weeks, over 300 Federation worlds had declared independence and requested admission to the human Commonwealth. The Galactic War had raged for 5 years, and now Emperor Ryujiho stood on the bridge of Harmony's dream as the massive throne world materialized above Nexus Prime. The sight was breathtaking. Humanity's mobile capital was larger than the Federation's ancient station, and it pulsed with energy that seemed alive. Emperor Ryujiho had been elected by democratic vote from representatives of over 800 human worlds. He was not a dictator or king, but a leader chosen by free people who had built an empire that spanned multiple galaxy arms. Under his guidance, humanity had transformed from hidden refugees into the dominant force in known space. The Federation. "Council is requesting permission to surrender," reported General Park Yunwoo as he joined the Emperor at the observation window. The general was a veteran of countless liberation campaigns, having freed over 200 worlds from Federation oppression during the war. Below them, Nexus Prime looked small and fragile. The massive station that had once commanded the galaxy was now surrounded by thousands of Commonwealth ships. Some vessels were purely human, others were crewed by the dozens of alien species that had joined humanity's cause, and the most advanced ships seemed to exist partially outside normal reality. "Any word from Admiral Songmire?" asked the Emperor. The Grand Fleet has secured all major Federation military installations, replied General Park Yun-woo. Resistance collapsed once their remaining forces realized what they were fighting against. Most Federation species are surrendering without a battle. Admiral Song Mirai commanded the largest military force in galactic history. Not just human ships, but vessels from every species that had joined the Commonwealth. Her fleet included the crystalline warships of the Ethereal Collective, the reality-bending vessels of the Phase Dancers, and the impossible technologies developed by human scientists working with ancient knowledge. The war had been unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Traditional space battles were rare because Commonwealth forces could simply phase in and out of existence, strike from parallel dimensions, or attack through time itself. Federation military doctrine, developed over millennia of conventional warfare, was completely useless against such tactics. But the most devastating weapon was not military at all. It was the promise of freedom. Everywhere Commonwealth forces appeared, local populations welcomed them as liberators. The Federation had ruled for so long through fear and bureaucracy that most species had forgotten what self-determination felt like. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the surface," announced the communications officer. "Chancellor Morden requests a personal meeting with you." Emperor Ryujiho considered the request. The ancient Velthari leader was the last representative of the old galactic order, and his surrender would mark the end of Federation rule. "Tell him I'll meet with him in 1 hour, but not on his station. He can come to Harmony's dream." Scientist Lee Yuna approached the Emperor with excitement in her eyes. She had been working on humanity's most ambitious project, consciousness transfer technology that would allow humans to exist in any form imaginable. "The final tests are complete, Your Majesty. We can now transfer human consciousness into any substrate, biological, mechanical, or pure energy." This breakthrough meant that humans could survive in literally any environment. They could exist as energy beings in the hearts of stars, as quantum entities in computer networks, or as biological forms adapted to any possible world. Death itself had become optional for humanity. "How does it work?" asked Emperor Ryujiho. "We map the complete neural pattern of a person's consciousness," explained scientist Lee Yuna. "Then we can transfer that pattern into any compatible system. A human could live as an energy being for 1,000 years, then transfer into a biological body to experience physical sensation, then move into a mechanical form to explore dangerous environments. This technology was the key to humanity's ultimate expansion beyond the galaxy itself. While other species were limited by their biology and lifespan, humans could adapt to any challenge and live forever if they chose." The meeting with Chancellor Morden took place in the throne room of Harmony's dream. The ancient alien leader looked small and defeated as he stood before the Emperor. His 6 arms trembled with age, and his purple skin had faded to a pale gray. "I come to surrender," said Chancellor Morden simply. "The Federation Council has voted to dissolve itself rather than continue a war we cannot win." Emperor Ryujiho studied the alien leader thoughtfully. This being had been responsible for humanity's exile and had later ordered their complete extermination. But showing mercy would demonstrate that the Commonwealth was different from the oppressive Federation. "I accept your surrender," said the Emperor finally. "But understand, the galaxy will never again be ruled by fear and oppression. The Commonwealth offers membership to any species that accepts our principles of freedom and equality." "What will happen to my people?" asked Chancellor Morden. "The Velthari will be offered the same choice as every other species," replied Emperor Ryujiho. "Join the Commonwealth as equals, remain independent and neutral, or continue to oppose us and face the consequences. The choice is yours." General Park Yun-woo had been coordinating the liberation of Federation worlds throughout the war. His forces had developed techniques that minimized casualties while maximizing psychological impact. Rather than destroying Federation infrastructure, they simply took control of it and demonstrated how much better life could be under Commonwealth rule. Most Federation species are choosing to join us, he reported to the Emperor. They're tired of being ruled by ancient bureaucracies that no longer serve their needs. The younger species especially want the opportunities that Commonwealth membership provides. The Commonwealth offered something the Federation never had: unlimited expansion and opportunity. With consciousness transfer technology and dimensional travel capabilities, humans and their allies could explore infinite realities and build civilizations in places that had never been imagined. But the most symbolic moment came when the original, diplomatic team from 40 years ago returned to Nexus Prime. Captain Li Jiwan, now Fleet Marshal Li Jiwan, walked into the same council chamber where humanity had once been rejected and humiliated. The chamber was mostly empty now. Most Federation species had already surrendered or joined the Commonwealth. Only a few dozen representatives remained to witness the formal transfer of power. "I remember standing here 40 years ago," said Fleet Marshal Li Jiwan as she addressed the assembly. "You told us that humanity was incompatible with galactic civilization. You were right. We were incompatible with your civilization, so we built our own." Dr. Park Min-ho, now ancient but still brilliant, stood beside her. "You judged us by our past instead of our potential. You saw our conflicts and called us dangerous. You saw our adaptability and called us unstable. But you never asked what we could become if we were given the chance to grow." Ambassador Choi Hyun-woo had not lived to see this day, but his successor read from a statement the old diplomat had written years before. "Today we offer the galaxy what you once denied us: the chance to join a community based on cooperation, rather than control. The Commonwealth welcomes all species that share our values of freedom, equality, and unlimited potential." The formal ceremony was brief. Chancellor Morden signed the documents dissolving the Federation government, and Emperor Ryujiho signed the charter establishing the Galactic Commonwealth as the new governing body for willing species. But the real celebration began when Admiral Song Mirai's ships started their demonstration flights around Nexus Prime. Commonwealth vessels moved through space like living creatures, phasing in and out of reality, traveling through dimensions that the old Federation had never imagined existed. "This is just the beginning," announced Emperor Ryujiho as he broadcast to the entire galaxy. "Today, we unite the known galaxy under the principles of freedom and cooperation. Tomorrow, we begin exploring beyond this galaxy to the infinite possibilities that await us among the stars." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Communication networks across the galaxy carried messages of celebration as billions of beings realized they were finally free from the old system that had oppressed them for millennia. Scientist Lee Yuna was already working on the next phase of human expansion. "We've detected signals from other galaxies that suggest intelligent life," she reported to the Emperor. "With our new technologies, we can reach them within a few years." "What's our message to these other galaxies?" asked Emperor Ryujiho. "The same message we offered to the Federation," replied the scientist. "Freedom, equality, and unlimited potential for any species willing to join us. The universe is vast enough for everyone." General Park Yun-woo had begun organizing the Commonwealth Exploration Corps, a joint human-alien force dedicated to peaceful expansion into unknown regions of space. "We're not conquistadors," he explained to his officers. "We're explorers and liberators. Our goal is to spread freedom, not impose control." As Harmony's dream prepared to depart for the neighboring Andromeda galaxy, Emperor Ryujiho looked back at the galaxy that had once rejected humanity. Now it was free, united under principles that humans had fought and died to establish.